Hey, it is Dennis Wirth, Funny Like Clown Podcast, episode 31, July 7th, 2019. It is a hot one here in G Vegas, let me tell you that. We are here to discuss comedian Bill Burr. As always, Funny Like Clown Podcast is brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce for the spicy, sweet, savory taste of game time. There is only one G Vegas, and later on this month, in Gardner, Massachusetts, a big G Vegas backyard barbecue contest going on. I'll be judging it. Sponsored by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. So go to www.gvegas.webs.com. Check it out. Enter the contest. Order some Buffalo Sauce. But I don't discuss Bill Burr alone. To discuss comedian Bill Burr, I have on the phone comedian Brian Holland. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Hey, how you been doing in comedy?
Been busy. It's staying busy. I have a show coming up this Friday in Dudley, Mass at Drafters, and on the 18th I'll be at Mohegan Sun Comics.
There you go, Mohegan Sun. Don't lose any money gambling down there, all right? Because you know those Indians, they got it all figured out.
All the time from the casinos, I've never spent $1 gambling.
You're a smarter man than me.
I don't gamble. I don't gamble.
All right, so let's get to it. What makes you a big fan of Bill Burr?
Oh, Bill Burr, I think, is a beast. I think he's by far one of the best comedians that's ever been, and he's anybody that's ever seen him is you have to agree his style is untouchable.
All right, I mean, all the stuff
the way he talks about everything, regular day things, but he puts his own weird twist on it.
Sure,
Population control thing, like 2/3 you got to go, all that.
Got his own viewer stuff, but out of all the stuff he's done, I mean, movies, stand up, or a skit, do you have a favorite memory of him or a favorite routine or something?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the population control thing, where it's like, the problem is not pollution, it's not people, everything else, it's that we need to get the population of the planet down to just like 30,000 people.
It's just too many people, right? Too many people to take care of. That's a good one.
And you can do whatever you want,
But, I mean, he doesn't really tell jokes. He kind of he's naturally funny. He's like, if you go to a bar, he's the funny guy sitting next to you just telling stories,
Yeah, just ranting. Yeah, he rants.
And he's a guy you want to listen to because he's funny about it. He makes his observations of life are really funny, And
that's great.
That's funnier than any joke you could make up. I mean, jokes have their place, don't get me wrong, but when you're just naturally funny and see everything in a funny way, that stands
and that's
out.
comedy, right? You talk about what you know about, and that's people are not telling jokes about unicorns. Not too many people. Most people talk about what they know.
Right. Well, you're almost the same way. Because I've seen you perform, and you just stand up there with the mic, you got a bottle of beer in your hand, and you just start going, so...
And I talk about drinking.
That's right, you talk about what you know, right?
Beer in my hand.
All right, so let's see, he's a comedian, an actor, and a podcaster. Outside of stand-up comedy, he hosts Monday Morning Podcast. Have you heard his podcast before or no?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, how's that?
Plus, he's on Efforts for Family.
Yeah, but I mean, what about his podcast? What do you remember from that mostly by listening to it?
He goes up, he touches on so many different subjects that, I don't have an exact favorite podcast moment for Bill.
I heard it's not just comedy. He talks about sports and family and everything on there, right?
Oh, yeah, he goes off about everything.
So, yeah, he doesn't just limit it to comedy. I heard his wife's a little bit of a part of this podcast, too, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times he's talking about serious stuff. He's not always just telling jokes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I take a serious take on here on discussing whatever comedian of the week we're discussing, but he's also appeared on the Chappelle Show. Have you seen him on the Chappelle Show?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. What do you remember about his appearance on there?
I don't recall exactly what he said on the Dave Chappelle Show. Has he been on it more than once, though?
Yeah, he's on a few times. He was a regular guest for a while, but I mean, Chappelle and Bill Burr, those are two geniuses right there working together. So.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's worth seeing right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they bounce. Yeah, I've seen him on it once, twice. I don't recall exactly what was said on the show, but
two geniuses at work. What do you call it? He played Patrick Kirby in AMC's show Breaking Bad, and I got to admit, when I was younger, I was a big TV buff. I rarely watch any TV if it's not sports nowadays. But did you watch Breaking Bad or no?
I watched some of it. I didn't see his appearance on Breaking Bad.
You didn't see his appearance? Yeah, he was.
I never knew he was on that.
But I mean, everybody's talking about the show Breaking Bad, so it's got to be something good if he was on there. I mean, that's one of the #1 shows on television. I've never seen it. I'm not
with
on the
Bryan
TV.
Cranston and everything. Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Let's see. He created and starred in F is for Family on Netflix. Have you seen that?
I have.
Now,
Hysterical.
What is that about?
It's about a father with problems with his family, everything. How he deals with issues with his regular day life, with work and family, and
Okay, so he's like a modern day Cosby, right?
Reactions.
Okay. Yeah, Netflix is the next big thing for comics, I'll tell you. I mean, I haven't spurred, I don't watch much of it, so I mean, it wasn't for me, but a lot of big things are happening.
You don't make it till you get Netflix specials.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with their own original series and all kinds of good stuff on there, so I'll plug Netflix. I mean, they're doing good stuff for comedians. He's also got an animated sitcom that he co-founded, the All Things Comedy Network. He created his own network. What do you think of that?
I haven't even heard about it. He just started this?
Yeah, he co-founded the All Things Comedy Network. It's his own network that he created, which it shows, a lot of comics where if you're not in the group, you can't get in to play the clubs, if you're not in the, in with the right people, in with the group. And a lot of them are saying, you're not limited by that anymore because you can go on YouTube, you can go on the internet and start your own website. There's so many different ways that you can get seen now that you're not limited by the clubs. And
look at Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham got famous on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't you're not at the mercy of the being a member of the comedy club if people like you or don't like you anymore. And
absolutely, yeah.
I actually seen a thing.
I just making songs for his brother who was in college. He'd write funny songs and he'd send them to his brother. His brother started YouTubing them, and then Bo Burnham blew up. I saw him back years ago when he was only 18 years old. At the Wilbur Theater. That's where I saw him.
Yeah, if you can get a video to go viral on YouTube, that's definitely. I was out in Vegas recently, and they got those on the billboards. I mean, there's comedians, you know them from other things, but they're saying how many YouTube hits they get, because if you get a lot, you definitely want to advertise that. People know you from there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They actually had a conspiracy theory. Now, let me get your opinion on this. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a lot of YouTube stars, and I watched a video on this on YouTube, that they're being, they're having mysterious deaths, okay? They're dying mysteriously. And people are saying it's because of people in the industry are having them bumped off because they're not getting their cut of their fame, where, the big industry wants a cut of your fame, where if you're on YouTube being a star, they're not getting their cut of your royalties anymore. Do you think there's any truth to that, or?
I don't know. It's the first I've heard of that, but, it's tough to say whether or not, to speculate on that.
Yeah, the big industry, they're not liking the YouTube star because they're not making any money off them. In the big industry, they don't want you stealing their money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Who knows if it's true?
Big corporations like that.
Now, he's a Boston guy, and we're both from Massachusetts. We do the Boston scene. I'm from Gardner. You're what, living in Leicester now?
Yes. Yep.
All right. And he actually got a bachelor's degree in radio from Emerson College in Boston. Did you know that about him?
I did.
All right. He began comedy in 1992. Then he moved to New York in 1994. And he appeared on a lot of the other podcasts. And I got to say, that's how you build your podcast, by going on somebody else's and they come on yours. And you swap out and, you get exposed to their fans. He gets exposed to your fans.
One of our common friends we have, John Parada, is the one that he's one of the ones that used to give Bill Burr his spots.
I heard that. He paid him one night $20, Bill Burr, to host a show for him, John Parada. And years later, Bill didn't forget about John Parada. He played the Casino Ballroom up at Hampton Beach. That's one of the bigger rooms in the area. And he asked John to come up and open for him. So that's always cool when you don't forget, the people who remember you. I wish there was more of that. Cause I help out a lot of people in comedy.
You can open for me.
Yeah, I know, there you go. I'll open for you when you hit it the big time. But I know there's a lot of that. I help a lot of people.
But it's cool. We have history back, I think around 7 years of doing shows together, you and I.
Yeah, we did. Way back when you were first starting there, we did a bunch of shows together up in New Hampshire. It was a fun room.
I've been doing it for 9 years now. I'm in my 10th year.
You've been going at it.
It's just past my 9-year mark.
There you go, but he was on podcasts, the Opie and Anthony Show, the Adam Carolla Show. Adam Carolla's got the #1 podcast going. The Joe Rogan Experience. That guy's getting hundreds of thousands of hits.
Joe's got a great podcast also.
Yeah, Joe's one of my favorite ones, actually. And he was the first guest on Tom Green's podcast. So, do you think podcasts are the next big thing for comedians, or?
I do. I definitely think that it is. Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely, it's helped out a lot of comics, and it's good exposure.
Yeah.
And lets people get to know the comic on a different level than just seeing them on stage doing a set. they get to hear like personal talk and how they
the real them they get to know.
Yeah. They just telling joke after joke.
Well, they say, when we were young, we had that one TV show, say Happy Days. If that was on Friday night, you had to be home on Friday night to watch that. Everybody had to be in front of the TV. But everybody's so busy now, they don't have time to be home one night a week, where a podcast, you can just listen to it whenever you want. That's why they're becoming so popular, because you can fit it into your schedule. You don't have to be home on a certain night to listen to it,
And you don't have to listen all of it at one time. You can pause and go back and finish listening to it.
Exactly. It's a very convenient thing for comedy, so I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing for comedy.
I'll give a friend of mine, Mike Wagner, I was on his podcast. He's out of, I think, North Carolina or something, and he did my podcast. So I've been swapping out podcasts. Our numbers are growing each week here on Funny Like a Clown, but let's see.
I do Wicked Business podcast. I've done that a few times.
Yeah, I did that one time. That was fun, yeah.
Yeah, they're good people. Keith Nicholas, yeah.
Yeah, Sean Sorrow had me on it. Yeah.
Danny Bradbury Bates, yeah.
I paid back. I had Sean on mine for having me on, so... Well, let's see. What do you remember of Bill Burr's special? You got Why Do I Do This? Was filmed in New York in 2008. Let It Go was filmed at the Fillmore in San Francisco in 2010. Was on Comedy Central. You People Are All the Same was on Netflix. I'm Sorry You Feel That Way was filmed in Atlanta, Georgia. And he actually filmed that one in black and white. And they said that was rare for like a comedy show to be in black and white. That was something different.
I've watched all of them more than once. Yeah, the black and white one, yeah. Yeah, it's the only one I've seen like that anybody's done in black and white.
Yeah, because I did a show, The Comedy Kitchen, for a while. It was I had comedians on, and we were cooking stuff. And after a while, you've done the same thing so many times, you want to do something different. So I did an episode in black and white, and it was a fun thing. It took us like a trip back in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. Roy Orbison, he did one too, didn't he? Roy Orbison, black and white night. He had Bruce Springsteen on, Elvis Costello. He had a bunch of famous. And I thought that was great watching it.
People like that.
All right, I'm sneezing over here. That's good for a podcast. No, I don't care. What the fuck? People sneeze, right? All right, but, people sneeze. What are you gonna do? He appeared in the movie Date Night. Did you see that movie, Date Night? I don't remember it, but
he was in Date Night.
He was in Date Night. Do you know the movie?
I do.
Well, what was the movie about?
I didn't. It was a movie about a couple that go out. They go out on a date and they get involved with some. They steal someone's reservation at a restaurant.
Okay.
And they ended up being like a guy that was wanted by the mob if they stole a reservation. So then the mob comes in and they kidnap him. And it's Steve Carell, and I don't remember the woman that was in it.
Okay. But he had a small role in it. I don't think it was
big.
He was in there. Let's see. Rolling Stone called him the undisputed heavyweight champ of rage-fueled humor. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that assessment.
Yeah, because he's got kind of an anger about him where he sees the world in an anger way, but that's who you are, and that's why it works.
So I said he's a ranter. He rants.
Yeah, I refer to Sam Kinison. He's one of my heroes. He complained about bad relationships, and it was he had been in so many bad relationships. It was an honest anger. It was real life stuff,
Yeah, 90% of what I say on stage is real. I mean, I've told things that's the fact of my life, and people laugh. I'm like, people are horrible.
Oh yeah, they say that real life is so much funnier than anything you can make up.
Horrible that happened in my life, and you're laughing.
They gotta laugh at your pain, right? That's what they say. Laugh at your pain.
Tragedy plus timing equals comedy.
Right. Let's see. The New York Times called him one of the funniest, most distinctive voices in the country for years. Now, I mean, just his voice alone. You ever notice how somebody's got like a voice that's so different you just want to listen to it?
Yeah, he's got the voice. He's definitely got the laugh too. His laugh is like a cackle.
We mentioned John Perrotta too. He's got like that really commanding stage presence where, it's a powerful voice where not everybody could do the crowd work like he does, but he's got the powerful stage presence to make it work,
Yeah, he does like mostly crowd work, John's a master of crowd work.
No, 99% of it. Not everybody can do it. It's not easy to do crowd work either.
It's an art form, that's for sure.
He's got the voice, though, the very commanding voice where you want to listen to him and you want to be a part of the show with him,
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah,
Bill.
Love putting their hands up when John asks a question.
Absolutely. You'd be part of the show, that's right. Let's see. Bill Burr put his influences George Carlin, Mort Schall, Bill Hicks, Bill Cosby, Sam Kinison, Patrice O'Neal and Richard Pryor, but who are some of the guys other than Bill Burr that inspired you to want to do comedy?
Well, obviously Richard Pryor is one of my big influences. I've actually worked with his son, Richard Pryor Jr., for the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund program, Richard Pryor Jr. Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund program.
Really? How was he? Was he funny?
Yeah, I did a show with him at Lucky Jack's in New York City.
How was he? Was he funny?
MTV2 filmed it.
Was he funny?
He actually opened for me. Richard Pryor Jr. actually opened for me. he went up and I went up after him.
Richard Pryor's son, really?
Yeah. He does. He does some stand up, but most does acting, and he does some cabaret work and other stuff like that also.
Okay, because I heard he was out in L.A. He was doing good. Then he went to New York, and New York really tore him up. They didn't like him much in New York.
Yeah, he maintains one address. He stays in New York, he stays in Peoria, Illinois, and he stays out in California sometimes.
Yeah, he's got the name recognition where you're going to go see him just because of the name, right?
Yeah, and he just came out with the book, In a Prior Life.
Really?
Yes, he just wrote a book, In a Prior Life, about, the experience growing up with his ultra-famous dad and what it was like going through. And it's a great book. It describes everything. He doesn't hold any punches. I haven't read it yet. I have a copy on order. It just recently came out.
Okay. Well, I remember from probably from Bill Burr. He talks about marriage, which he got married in 2013 to Marinina Hill. But one of his jokes was 2 out of 3 marriages don't work. If I said we were going to go skydiving and 2 out of 3 parachutes weren't going to open, you'd say fuck that, So
yeah, that's a Bill Burr thing, yeah.
making fun of the marriage, but he did end up getting married, even though he had negative views toward it. And I remember when
real life stuff, like one reference about there's so many pedophiles now. It's probably because it's so easy, you just go online and
there's so much access.
Right? 8-year-old child home alone.
It's true. It's a point. Yeah, you got to think about it.
Back in the old days, you had to actually work. To be a pedophile, you had to get an ice cream truck and.
Oh, I said that. I was a kid. I had to walk a half mile to the bus stop. Now buses stop every 10 feet. Man, they ain't taking no chances anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite ones when he first started out. This was his earlier routine. He did a thing about George Bush saying that if you're with the terror, he can't even say the word terror. He says, you're with the terror, we're going to get you.
Yeah.
He's like, what kind of president says we're going to get you?
Yeah.
Like, I got a couple of bloodhounds going out hunting. Come on, we're going to get you. But he's naturally, just to listen to him, he's funny like that,
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got a couple of fans who chimed in. You want to take a few fan questions here?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll tell you what the fans had to say, and you just give me your opinion on them, all right?
Okay.
All right, James Lewis wrote in, you rescued a dog. Really? Did you carry him out of a burning building?
Yeah.
Was that one of his comedy routines? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was one of Bill Burr's, one of his skits did, he's a rescue. Like, really?
So
you talk about, climb into a burning building and saving a dog.
Right. My girlfriend's got a rescue dog.
And you got a free dog. He didn't rescue anything.
All right. Let's see, Randy Williams.
Like, the firefighters,
like you ran into a burning building to take them out of there or something, right?
Yeah.
That's what they call them, rescue.
People use the word rescue, with animals, and that's why we, it's a strong word, Obviously, some people, I don't know, I'm going to hate mail after this, but some people, rescue animals that are definitely going to find a home anyway.
Right.
But
a lot of them are abused, and you're rescuing them from the abuse. But I mean, he turned it into, like you're a fireman rescuing them from a bad situation. It is a bad situation.
It's a strong word to use for going down a pound and getting a free dog. That's what his point was.
Everybody's so offended now. You can't really joke around much anymore, and people are taking offense. But I mean, guys like us, we laugh about anything.
Yeah, you have to find comedy everywhere. If you can't do that, then I can't imagine life is like.
Yeah, Joan Rivers said, "Where will we all be without laughter?"
Frown on their face.
Right.
And I feel bad for those people.
All right, let's see. Randy Williams writes in. He had an unplanned bit between him and his wife on a podcast where he was reading an ad for Me Undies and asked his wife to try them on, and she obliged. And then you're listening to him fluster around while he's admiring his wife hitting every level of trying on the panties. He said it was funny and sweet. I mean, have you ever had something happen during a comedy show where you weren't expecting it and you didn't know what to do?
I brought someone to a comedy show I did at the Comedy Attic recently, and he was a little under the weather. He had a few extra drinks, more than I thought, and then we got there. I was talking with the other comedians. Colleen McCauley was there, Todd Clay, some other comedians, Brian Pellicano,
yeah.
And I guess he was just slamming down shots. Well, I got up on stage. It was the first time I got heckled in 9 years of comedy at the time. And, he walked over and wanted me to hand him the mic. And I just told everybody to stick around for the after show and kick his ass in the parking lot. Which I did too. But
sometimes things happen up here that weren't expected. You got to handle them,
Oh, yeah. But you only have so much time on stage. And when a heckler takes up some of your time.
Yeah, you don't want to waste time dealing with it.
It's like, just sit down and listen,
I showed up to an outdoor show once.
Hecklers. That's why comedians go so hard for hecklers.
Right, I had to deal with a heckler for 20 minutes one time, and I got off stage and I asked the guy running the show, I'm like, why didn't somebody go over there and stop that guy? He's like, well, everybody was laughing so hard at you telling them off. It's like, you think I showed up tonight to tell off a drunk for 20 minutes? Yeah, that's not why I worked on my routine, buddy. I care how funny it was,
Yeah, it's not hard putting somebody down, but that's not what I went on stage to do. I went on stage to tell my jokes.
Yeah, to perform, exactly.
Not to just put somebody down because they won't shut up.
So let's see.
I actually had the whole audience tell them to sit down and shut up. We're all together in a chant.
That's right. Gotta do what you gotta do. Robert Glancy wrote in, watching him in Boston in the early 90s. Now, that was before he was famous, but have you ever been part of a show where somebody really famous walked in unexpectedly?
No. I've performed at New York and a lot, and every time I'm on that show, there's always pro comics there.
Right.
So I've worked with a bunch of comics.
You ever think of that, though? We're playing a lot of the same stages that Dane Cook played when he was young, and but a lot of these Boston, Stephen Wright, he played a lot of these stages before they were popular. We're all hitting the same stages.
Well, he's a Massachusetts comedian also.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. We're playing on a lot of stages now that they played on before they were popular,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool thing to think about.
That's nice, yeah.
Let's see. David Affleck writes in.
Any stage we go on, you know what I mean? Like I said, New York, Broadway, Comedy Club, even comics, Foxwoods and Fort Foxwoods a bunch of times. All those stages seem like such big names,
Oh, yeah, all the big names.
I was just we had a show probably probably 4 or 5 months ago that Mohegan Sun and Jay Okerson was there. Big Jay Okerson.
Who is it?
Big Jay Okerson. You familiar with him?
Jay Orbison?
Okerson. Big Jay Okerson.
Don't know.
He wears the fingerless gloves.
Oh, okay.
You don't know him?
I can't say I do.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's hope he knows me. I don't know.
How about Harris Stanton? You familiar with Harris Stanton?
No.
No, okay.
I guess I'm not on the scene enough. No. No, I was down to the Gotham one time.
That's the headlines. They're pretty famous, but...
Yeah, I was in the Gotham one time. I'm in the green room. I'm on my cell phone. I look up and I'm standing next to Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan. Had no idea they were there. I'm like, okay. They did the early show.
Yeah.
I was doing the late show, and we were crossing in the green room. No idea they were there. That was cool.
Well, that's better than any story I have.
Oh, you've heard of those guys, right?
No, like I said, the closest I came to that kind of thing would be Richard Pryor Jr., but that's because of his dad.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. He's a known name. Let's see. David Affleck writes in...
Guy, by the way. Super nice guy.
His destruction of Philadelphia hecklers. We were just talking about hecklers. Did you ever hear that routine when he was in Philadelphia? And his whole routine, he just told off the crowd for like 10 minutes straight?
Are you talking about Charlie Murphy?
No. Bill Burr did this. He was in Philadelphia.
No, I didn't see that set.
Yeah, I listened to it, and nobody would listen to any of the comics. And finally,
Charlie Murphy thing at the college.
And he got up there. Yeah, he was out of college, I think. He got up there. He just started telling off Philly, doing their hockey team, their baseball team. He's like, and he was counting it down as he did it. He'd tell them off, be like 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Finally, I'm done.
I did hear about that, actually. I did.
Yeah, he went off so bad they had to listen to him. Yeah, where nobody else could get him to listen. He started insulting the shit out of him, and they started to listen to him. So he knew how to handle it, But I've had that happen sometimes.
Talk about that show before his podcast.
Yeah, if you want to get them to listen, you gotta, speak their language. I mean, I had that happen at a bar one time. Nobody listened. I got up there. I almost got into a fist fight over it, but I got their attention. I started going after everybody in the bar. Well, they started to listen, you know. You got to speak their language sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, we end off every show with some trivia, okay? And I'll preface this by saying nobody does good on trivia. I'll ask you 3 questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions about Bill Burr. Nobody's ever gone 3 for 3. Few people have gotten 2 right. Most people get 1 or none right, but we do it because it's information finding. But if you do go 3 for 3, we ship you out a bottle of G Vegas Buffalo sauce, our sponsor. Do you like buffalo sauce?
Oh, I love it.
All right, let's see if you can go 3 for 3.
I'll probably buy some anyway.
All right, because it's good stuff. That's right. Bill Burr was born in Massachusetts. In what town was he born?
That was Wilbraham?
No, it was Canton, Mass. He was born in.
Canton, okay.
Canton.
I actually knew that. I just couldn't remember offhand. I think
right.
they're close to each other, though.
There you go. All right, Bill Burr's voice was featured in what video game? His voice was in a video game.
I've actually heard this before.
Do you know what video game it was?
I'm trying to think of it, but I've heard this before.
It's on the tip of your tongue, right? See, if you weren't on the spot, you'd know it. Then they put you on the spot and your mind goes blank, right?
Yeah. I've actually heard he did voice on a video game. It was back some time ago, though.
Take a wild guess.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft. You Googled that, didn't you? There's no way you...
No, I didn't.
No? Your girlfriend's not over there Googling. All right, you're going 1 for 2. So this is the tiebreaker here, the 3rd one. All right.
You're not on speakerphone.
I figured someone's Googling it for you in the back, but it was Grand Theft Auto. You're right. All right, here's your final question. He played the voice of football fan number 1 in what popular cartoon? No Googling. Spit it out. Let's go.
No, I would never do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm honest. Jesus. Popular video game, football player number 1. Was it Madden or something? I don't know. I think that's the only football game I know of.
No. He was the voice of football fan number 1 in what popular cartoon?
Oh, cartoon. I think it's a video game. Oh, shit. I don't know. Family Guy. I don't know. I'm just totally guessing.
Close. It was The Simpsons. Simpsons, Family Guy. It's all the same thing.
See, I should have guessed that because Simpsons always has the same people on there.
They do. I know. There's so many people who have been on The Simpsons. I didn't know till I started doing this podcast. I'm like, he's been on too. Wow, but they get the popular one. But I think that was the show about the Patriots. They called them the Americans, but it was a big spoof about the Patriots. So we love our football team just a little too much over here.
What's that now?
I think the episode of The Simpsons, I think it was the episode about the Patriots. They called them the Americans. It was a big spoof on how we love the Patriots too much around here. But I think that was the episode Bill Burr was on. Yeah, he was football fan number 1.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Brian, I want to thank you for being on Funny Like a Clown podcast. Before we go, you being a big fan of Bill Burr, what would you want other fans to know about him?
Oh, I would say go see him. I believe it's going to be at Foxwoods in an upcoming date. So if you Google that, you'll find out when he's going to be there. I plan on being there. But yeah, I think he's far from done. He's been doing comedy like since 1992. He started to make it in '95. His first special I think he got was in '95, and his material changes all the time, and it's always relatable to people. Anybody that has a family or has a job, and most people have both. So yeah, I think be self-service and then go laugh, go see Bill Burr.
I think that's a good point. Go see him live because comedy's so much funnier live, and you brought it up earlier because you only get so much time. Okay, where this is his concert, he's got no time limit. He can just let loose and do whatever he wants. So that's when you're going to be at the funniest when there's no restrictions.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Brian, thanks for being on Funny Like a Clown podcast. We wish you luck on the circuit.
Okay, thank you very much, buddy.
Thanks. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you soon, Dennis. Hopefully we work together again soon. It's been too long.
That's right. Take care.
All right, take care, buddy. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. All right, comedian Brian Holland on Bill Burr, legendary comedian, Like we said, he's the guy you sit down next to in a bar and start talking to him, and he's so funny you just sit there and drink beer all night and talk to him all night, and you want to listen, because it's real life stuff, and that's funnier than anything you could make up. All right, I am Dennis Wirth, Funny.com podcast. Tune me in again next week, and we'll be discussing another comedian. Until then, keep laughing, because laughter is the best medicine. Good night.